University head baseball coach, Chris Lemonis. Give him a round, man.
Can you hear me? Is the volume all right? Andy, thank you very much. It's an honor. I think in my first week here, with everything going on, I got a call from Andy. Came by, met with us, asked us to speak, and we were like, yes. You win with players, and I'm a big believer you win with players in your state and your surrounding states. People ask me, hey, you going to recruit back in Louisville or Midwest? And I was like, no. I mean, we'll sign somebody, but our emphasis is here. And we want kids that, man, they've grown up their whole lives dying to put that uniform on. It just seems like those kids play a little harder. Speaking of recruiting, my very first recruit, my best recruit, was keeping Coach Gotro. The night I got the job, probably 11, 12 o'clock at night on the phone, trying to talk him into staying and doing and keeping our recruiting classes. We kept every kid during all that time frame. All the recruits stayed locked in until they hired me, and then a couple of them decommitted. So I don't know what that says. But Coach Gotro did an unbelievable job, and it was great with our hitters. And then, did Andy leave? Did he walk out?
He did.
He was kind of lying to you guys earlier when he said we had Mangum, use the Easton, and so on, and use the Easton bats. They used one bat. After that, when they hit that jack, every kid in the program used that bat, but I think the rest of it was worn off. So it was an Easton bat, and we love Easton, and we appreciate all their support, but our kids got on the lucky bat, I think, and they're still swinging that bat. So they want to use the old bat. I'm speaking today on our practice organization stuff. I know it's not the most exciting topic. I stay away from teaching hitting. I let Coach Gotro do that one. I was a hitting guy my whole life, but it's like politics now. Everybody's arguing about everything. But we're going to talk about practice organization. One thing I want to tell you, our practices are always open. And if you shoot us an email in my last slide, my operations director, and say, hey, Coach, can we come to practice? We want to bring our staff. You just shoot us an email. It's open. You show up early. We give you the practice schedule. You're on the field with us. You're standing around. The only thing is you're not allowed to get hit with the ball. So you got to stay out of the way or whatever it is. But if you want to stay in the middle infield with Coach Gotro, as we're doing middle infield work, or you want to go to bullpen with our pitching coach, Coach Fossall, or do whatever, all you got to do is shoot us an email. It's never a problem. We've had that for years open, and you're welcome at our spot. Just, like I said, we also have a coaches clinic coming up for high school coaches, January 25th. I'll have that on the slide too. Guys would come in. I think they've done it the last couple of years there in Starkville. You come in for that morning, and we'll shoot it out to everybody. You come in that morning. We do a couple hours. It's free. We hang out in the Palmero. We go over drills and do everything. We'll supply you lunch. And then, boom, you head over into our practice, and you get to watch our practice that day. I think it's a Friday there in January. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the new stadium will be open, and we'll be ready to go. I'm not real good with technology or microphones. But we'll go into a couple different things that we got here. I was taught public school for 7 years. I was an elementary PE teacher. So my background's in being organized, running our practices and everything. I also coached high school baseball, so I know as I'm talking to you guys about some things, I have better facilities than you do. Like I said, to probably most people, even in the college game, to work with. But hopefully you're able to pull some things out and take them. But if anything I go over and you don't understand it, or you want to have a question about it, shoot your hand up. And we'll stop and talk about it here, because I think sometimes that's the better way to do it, because I'm going to go over all the things that we do in our practice organization. And if you have a question, I don't mind. I don't need to raise your hand and ask, and we'll knock it out right there when we're going through it. This is a quote my boss at Louisville, Dan McDonald, who worked down here in Mississippi for a long time. He would throw this at us all the time. And what you emphasize, you'll be good at. You'll be a great defensive team. If you put your time and effort, then you'll be a good defensive team. Pitching team, whatever it is, and you got to figure out what you want to be good at. And sometimes you may have to figure out another way to win if you don't have. I like to hit with power, but I have a bunch of small guys. It just changes there. But in our practice organization, and we lay things out, what is our emphasis? And our kids feel the emphasis of how we lay out things and do things. They understand what we're about. I'm going to show you a quick video. It's about 3 minutes long. It is a little bit of a Mississippi State infomercial, but there's a real purpose after I show it to you, and I'll talk to you about it. But it's something I show every recruit that comes through. But it shows you what that team, which I had nothing to do with, did last year, which was pretty remarkable with all the things that they had going on about it. But it's a pretty cool, it has a lot of Mississippi kids in there too. It's about 3 minutes long. It's not, and I may stop it a little. Hopefully it plays.
Forget it. Nobody thought we would be here. Nobody thought we could be here. A fall without a field. A preseason on an active construction site. At one point we had to wear hard hats just to walk to our own dugout. Then we got swept on opening weekend and got a new head coach just days later. We hit the road for 2 weeks. We played the lightest home schedule this program has ever seen. We dropped games we shouldn't, and we were embarrassed. Not just for the numbers on the back of our jerseys, but the name on the front. Back then, we weren't ready, and we paid for it. It wasn't just a hole we had to dig ourselves out of, it was the pit.
There's a high fly ball. He's going to try to throw it to the plate, but it will not be in time, and Missouri will win the ball game in extra innings by a score of 5-4.
But we learned from our lows. Those moments didn't just teach us about the game, they taught us about ourselves. They taught us about integrity, intensity, identity, and preparation. You'll hear us talk about starting 2-7 in the SEC. Most people try to ignore their failures, but not us.
And Mississippi State drops to 14-15 on the year and 2-7 in the Southeastern Conference.
We refuse to forget these moments that shaped us, no matter how much they hurt. Iron is forged in flame, and our strength today was built on the hardships of our past. We had every excuse to quit, but that's not what Bulldogs did. Let's be real clear about when this started. Did T-Sun really think they could come and do and push us around? We don't lose to that school, and we sure don't let them come into our house without sending them right back up the road. You don't make it out of Duty Noble without going through us. Who cares if anyone is ranked? We were outside the polls all year, and here we are, 10-1 against the top 5 and the only team in Mississippi still playing. We took down 3 top 5 teams, swept the #1 team in the country, and knocked off a national seed on their own field.
And there's a ball in the air, came from the outfield, got a chance, gone! 3-run homer, back to me, leaping around the bases. Mississippi State has shot Florida State and will stay alive and play some more in 2018.
Are we supposed to be impressed by another next year? We've got 20 come from behind wins. We won 5 straight elimination games on the road to Omaha, and we walked off 6 different times.
Ball is in the air, and the gap, right center field, all the way to the wall, Michael the third, across the plate is Anderson. Here he comes, he scores. Bulldogs have won in walk-off fashion over Ole Miss.
We won't quit because we don't know how. It's what we do. We're after one thing and one thing only. We're chasing the Holy Grail, not just because we want it, not just because we deserve it, but because it is our duty when we wear the maroon and white. This is why you come to Mississippi State. This is what we play for. And this is why we put on this uniform. The M over S doesn't just stand for Mississippi State. It stands for everyone who came before us. It represents Clark and Palmero, Thigpen and Brantley, Polk and Cohen, Renfro and Frazier. It represents championships. It represents the greatest fans in college baseball. It represents the birthright of being a Bulldog. The road to Omaha and the chase for a national championship. This trip is for those who came before us and for the ones who will follow. We're chasing our fate, sprinting for our prize, fighting for our glory, and demanding the absolute best of ourselves on every pitch, every play, and every second of every game, because we want what is ours, and we don't quit.
Bouncing ball, slowly to first, Tanner gets it, tags a runner going by, out recorded, Omaha, here comes the Bulldog baseball team.
Maybe you didn't think we'd make it here, but we know this is exactly where we're supposed to be. Get ready, Omaha. Dogs are coming.
So I show that to every recruit that comes through, and first thing I drew was our emphasis. I haven't been in Mississippi for a long time, My parents are from the coast. My dad went to Mississippi State. I grew up with a cowbell on the TV. I grew up a State fan. I just knew Mississippi State baseball. And the one thing to me, the very first meeting I have with our guys is, man, our emphasis was we're going to play tough. Because when you watch this team, it's really not the most talented team. There's talent, don't get me wrong, but it's perseverance and toughness. And as we coach and as we talk each day, that's my number one emphasis to our guys. That when they're getting interviewed after a game, I'll hear them say, no, we're tough, or whatever. Something in that mindset that your kids will take. I don't mind getting interviewed, yours probably don't get interviewed as much. But when you hear your kids talk about your program and they're repeating your words, that's the emphasis you want. The other big piece is you saw the first probably 2 minutes when they're practicing in the middle of a construction site. I know this is going to sound really bad and really petty, and I'll laugh with Coach Gotro. I'm in the middle of a construction site now, and I want to practice, and I'm bitching. And then I step back and I say, wow, that team last year couldn't even get on the field, and they finished in the top 3 or 4 teams in the country. Quit bitching, right? I mean, that's the piece, because I know I still can walk into Palmero, and I can do some of those things, but as coaches, then we got to find a way. And for me, the bitch and what I got is really probably poor, so we step back from that. We kind of have 2 different practice segments. We have our off-season practice that we do, and we set up. I'm really going to start on our regular practice today and go over all the different things that we throw out and how we organize our practices. And if, like I said, if you have a question and you see a drill up there, I'll go over that drill and we can talk about that. Our off-season practice, just like for right now, could be pitchers are in a lot of arm care and taking care, even our position players, doing our arm care, maybe trying to strengthen a guy. We've been off for about 6 weeks, been working in some areas there. Our off season a little bit, I grabbed them like a year or 2 ago, the driveline weighted bat system. So during this time, we don't do a lot of mechanics or technical stuff unless a guy really struggled. But we've been able to really make some forward progress with our bat speed or exit velo, whatever you want to call it now. I know there's so much debate in that world, but we've spent a lot of time in that world trying to get stronger, trying to swing a little harder, and they're great drills for kids to be able to get in the cages and work. It just takes consistent practice, and that's one big word I've been using with our guys lately, is how consistent can we be in our work so that we can get that done. But our regular practice segment is set up, and I'm going to go through those things for you guys. I hope you can read it in the back. This is our practice schedule. At our level right now, our kids have to know what time and how long we're practicing a week out. I know that sounds crazy, but that's like new rules that we have to deal with. So me being organized and having everything is good. So this is a daily practice schedule. Chasing excellence, I always have a theme of the week. I'm a reader, so I have all the books and I'll read to our guys and we talk. And I'm a big piece of, I know these kids don't read as much, but I'll make them, we have quote of the day and do some different things. But there's a theme of what we're trying to get out of it. And every week, it can be rivalry week. A lot of times, Chasing Excellence is a book we've been reading about and talking to our kids about. It's a certain week of the year. But you see we have weights early in the morning, and then we usually start with an early hitting period. We'll have 30 minutes in our cages. We have roughly 18 to 20 hitters in our groups. We'll break them up in groups of 3, break our coaches out, and be able to rotate around and maybe have 3 segments there. We always have an emphasis of the week. So something could be 2-strike week. It could be RBI week. It could be approach week. Whatever we're working on, we're trying to add something into it so that we're working on something all week long and we have an approach. Not that we don't take regular BP during that time, but there's always an approach in what we're doing. Then at 3 o'clock, we gather everybody and we have our big team stretch. So for us during that 2:30 time, our pitchers could be doing something. If they're off that day, I'm not about wasting the kid's time. So he may have had his bullpen that day, and another kid doesn't, and then so they just show up at 3 at the stretch. But we're able to work with both. Even at our level, we spend a lot of time as soon as that stretch is over. Every guy on the team, not just pitchers, does their arm care. We use Jaeger bands. We use their basic Jaeger band system. It takes about 4 or 5 minutes to get our arms activated. And since I've done that the last 3 years, kids complain about their arm care less than ever. And then we go into proper throwing. The first couple weeks of the fall, the first couple weeks of the spring, we go out and we do basic throwing drills. I don't let them just take off and throw. It's as simple as, hey, we're going to get that front side closed, we get a good grip. We teach them like we teach our kids at camp. And so, because the throwing piece is huge. especially for position players. And we're working on those things. Our pitchers go the other way with Coach Foxhall, and our position players go to right field, and we go through throwing program sets like that. And even as a recruiter for me, a lot of recruiters stand on different spots. I always stood at first base when I wanted to sign an infielder. Because when I was signed over there, I signed one, and my boss yelled at me because he threw a cutter to first. And since that point, I made sure I stood at first and watched how balls rotated all the time, making sure they threw the ball clean and true. Because if it's not clean and true in a normal game, when you're playing in a pressure game, that ball's sailing away and you ain't winning. So making sure that we're good there. The first main segment that we have every day once we started practice on the field is we go into our defensive fundamental pieces. And these defensive fundamentals for us, we break into 3 groups. I'm going to do outfield after the break and show you all our outfield drills. But our defensive fundamental piece is Coach Gotro has all the infielders. And we have pictures laid out everywhere around them. And I apologize I don't have as much video. And we just do our normal fungo circuit. But everything's in sets of 5. So you'll say the third baseman throwing the person, and we chart everything that day. And so as we finish that drill work, they'll do a small segment of drill work that he showed, but then we show you everything else. And we chart and we post our fielding percentage for the day. We get our fielding percentage for the week to try to get them on that consistent piece. That's not all right to miss one. Not all right to do the other. Our outfielders in the outfield, we do a different segment of drill work there. And then we come back in and and then our catchers are down the line with our catching coach. Pitchers are doing bullpens, pitchers are hitting fungos and doing everything. It's 20 minutes every day, and the number one emphasis for us is defense. You have to defend at a high level if you're going to have a good team. And we try to be as fundamental, even when you saw Coach Gotro's stuff, as fundamental as you possibly could be. The next segment is another defensive segment, and when I click off of it, I'm just going through today's schedule, and then I'll click to our others. But we have another team defensive segment at that point. Then we go into a base running segment, team meeting, BP, and we come down here to the bottom of the end, and then we have a quote of the day that we throw out, and sometimes it'll be 3 words, Nike, let's do it, or whatever, but sometimes it'll be a little longer. If they fail it, I call on one kid, then we run a lap around. So they start getting them in to figure it out, and then they have to explain what it means, so that's even harder for them, especially my guys. Different things of the week, toughest week, rivalry week, compete week, being a great teammate. We talk about some different things. We only get them for a short, you probably get them longer than we do at times. We get them for short spurts in there, and we're always trying to put something into them, throw something at them. This is our, like I said, our stretch and arm care, and then our catch play. It's about getting loose, and we get them warmed up when we do, and it's also about all the different defensive plays that we can make. So as they're throwing, they can do double plays. They can do relays, they can do tags. Coach Gotro knows he did with me all fall. I'm from the Midwest, so we all played on field turf. So you practice tags all the time. And I still love practicing tags and doing everything with our tags and all our quick hands drills in our throwing program. I think the throwing piece is huge, and a lot of us forget that as we're going through the program. Our different team defense things that we do, very basic like you guys, we do when we teach. So like this fall for me, I was new, everybody was new. Our team had 4 coaches in 4 years. So when we teach something, we teach it 2 days in a row. So we always teach it 2 days in a row. So if I'm going to teach my defense on Monday, I'm going to teach it on Monday, but I'm going to come out the next day on Tuesday, I'm going to teach it like I've never taught it before. So we're going to come out in that area and we're going to teach it again. Same thing with first and third and all the different things that you use. Our PFPs we do every week, and I feel that's one of our biggest team defense segments. We do ours on Thursdays, and we do run through our PFPs. One of the ways that we do our PFPs, and it goes back to me being a teacher and trying to maximize our day, as we have our kids in PFPs, we jump out there, and we do them at 4 at a time. I know you usually have that long line, and one kid runs out there. We put 4 kids at a time out there, and we let those 4 kids, one picks up a ball, picks it up. I think, yeah, we hit one the first, I'm sorry. We hit one the first, we practice running normal, come to the back. All right? Then we hit one in the full hole. Second baseman gets it, the second guy runs the first, catches it, boom, that pitcher spins off. The next one, we pick up, we throw to short, we turn the double play in the middle. And our shortstops and second basemen, we work at first base, we throw picks to first base, so we're picking at first base, and our last one's a bunt. And we'll go through that rotation and show our guys that rotation of everything that we have so that they can get through that piece quick. And then at the very end, we'll do one at a time if we're doing squeezes or bunts. But we go into all our different pieces here, our pickoffs, our fly ball communication, our cuts and relays and situations. We lay all that out like you guys do, but we put it in one segment a week, Monday or Tuesday. We do them back to back, and we knock them out from our team defense side. Our base running and different things that we do in our base running world. I've come from a really strong base running background with places that I've been, and I feel like base running is like special teams for you guys. The same thing with us. It's in a high school game. I bet you even get more out of the bunt game and the stealing than you do even at the college game. But what we work and do with our base running is we have an off first base, and we do at the beginning of the semester. The first 3 weeks is we do just first base. And we talk about all the different things that we do at first base. It may be as simple as, how you take a lead, how you dive back, how we do a hit and run, how we take our secondaries, how we do all those type of things. We lay all that out at first base. Then we go to second base. We do 2 days the next week, and we work just at second base. We go to third base, same type of thing. We do it at third base and do all our drill work so they have it in. Once we have that established, we spend a ton of time on stealing bases every day. And this is our biggest segment that we do. I only run in BP during game day BPs so that we can get used to somebody's field instead of how we break everything down here. We do it all in our base, our regular practice days. So we take steal breaks and we put a guy at first and do it just like you guys, and we'll practice it all day long. We have lines of 3 or 4 laid back, and boom, we take a break, we go, we slide. The first guy in line slides, everybody else is working on the other. Same thing with steal breaks at second, and then we do steal breaks at first and second so we can break up our groups and run those guys out there in that way. And then the last one that we work on a lot, you're sitting in your dugout and you're spending time and you talk about, the ball in the dirt, and then you're screaming at the kid. You had to be ready. You had to anticipate. We spend a lot of time mixing this one into our drills so that we do a lot of ball and dirts. So every day they got one segment of practice where they're running over here for about a 15-minute segment and doing just base running pieces. Something that we do a little different is we break in the middle of practice and grab our guys all at one time. I'm sure you guys are like mine. The average focus level of today's person in America is 9 minutes. So everything that you see that we do is in short spurts, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And my college coach told me this: if you're running bunt defense and it's awful, and it will be awful more than once, you do it for 15 minutes and stop and come back and do it the next day. For our side and our guys, it's not going to get any better after 15 minutes. So you're better off, and the focus piece is huge. I mean, it really is huge for us as we're dealing with our guys and taking care of everything. That's a huge piece. But we get into the middle of practice, and we spend time reviewing what's going on in certain pieces or what's going on after the day after we have scrimmage. Game notes to me are huge, and that's one way for them to learn. One big piece with game notes and talking to them and where we're at, you have to constantly say, hey, I'm not saying you suck, but we have to be able to learn from each other and learn from each other's mistakes. A lot of them take it pretty personal. We do it after every game now. For us now, we have the ability, we take everything in terms of video, and we'll show them those pieces. But when I do game notes, one of my biggest pieces with game notes is I try to do 50-50. So, hey, you really screwed up that bunt defense. Hey, look at this pitch we made. That's really good. You want to have a positive to have a negative. So we really try to take those out. As I'm writing them down, I even say, hey, that was a great hit with 2 strikes, or where we were at. Any items that you have coming up, good reminders because they have a hard time remembering. We pray in the middle of our practice. We take a second to say thanks. We also, in today's day and time, I tell you, if you're not religious, then we just take 30 seconds to bow your head and be thankful for what's happening today. Then we knock out our quote of the day, and we kind of move from there. Our batting practices, and we have a lot of different batting practices. And like I said, all the video stuff has been down, so I don't have as many videos from our live fall, which I should. We do a regular practice BP like you guys. So we run out, we have 4 groups in ours. Like I said, it's about 20 hitters, 4 groups of 5. You have a live hitting on the field. For me in practice, and we kind of even start with ours, we'll start with the oppo group and try to hit your back gap and do a round or 2 in your back gap. Then we really focus into the middle of the field. And then we can move, and we call ours aggressive. And when we talk about being aggressive, we want aggressive hitters, we all know. We also want guys who know the strike zone well. So it's a hard one to teach as you're trying to get it through your guys. But with us and our practice BPs, you're one of those first 4 or 5, so you're trying to get to 20 and 25 swings. For us, I know it's harder for you guys. And realize this, because I was shy to machines early in my career, and now we use machines everywhere. We throw too, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, oh, Coach, I'm just not really good. I don't care. I like the piece that if you just have to, we have to throw it like this every time for you to have a good BP, well, you're not really that good a hitter. Same thing with soft toss. And we do soft toss too, don't get me wrong, but after a while, you have to have some adjustability in your swing and be able to handle things in your swing and be able to, when I play, we play pepper all the time. And I'm not, but like, take your team and try to play pepper now. For us older guys, especially, the guys really struggle. I make them do it. We're in the winter, I make them do it. They don't even know what pepper is. But, trying to play pepper just to have some back control. And then we go through, like I told you, we have an emphasis in our BP. So our last round, our second to last round every day is 2 strikes. So it's a big deal to us that we put the ball. I want guys that have more walks and HBPs than strikeouts. And if they hit some jacks, that's really good. So, but if you have a guy that's striking out all the time and never gets on base, it's not a good combination. So every day we finish with 2 strikes. You'll see, you come to us, it's a little bit embarrassing sometimes because we got guys, we're throwing hammers, we're throwing sliders, our coaches are trying to strike them out. Most people are getting, different days, they're not doing that. And then the last one for us, our kids come back out after that's 3 reps. They get 3 reps on the second to last. And our last one is a 2-out hit. We're trying to get a 2-out hit. And because at the end of the year, you're playing the playoffs and you're preaching to your guys, hey, 2-out hits win championships, and we do it every day. And we don't throw that ball down the middle of the plate. We throw it, we call it the alley. We throw it off the edge of the outside plate to the other batter's box. That little alley out there, because when the game's on the line and runners are in score position, they ain't throwing it down a day. It just ain't. You're going to have to hit a ball off the plate. We always have a bunting station. I wear my guys out on the bunting, and we don't even bunt a lot, but I'll tell you this, good hitters know how to bunt. When I walked into this program, Jake Mangle could bunt, Jordan Westbrook could bunt, Tanner Allen could bunt. Tanner Allen's never going to bunt his whole career, but they have aptitude. And that aptitude piece is really big with us that we sit them down and do. We have a defensive station that we do, and then we have our cages that they'll go in, and we'll have a drill going on that day for whatever the cages. The only difference with our game day BP is we start going in, we do this a little bit of bunting, a little bit more situational work, and then that's when we base run. But the only time we base run, I don't know if this is because I didn't like base running as a player, but it's a whole other segment. I'll see teams that are hitting and you run and you do to me, being able to come out and get ready for my next round, get my swings, and then have that base running segment, I usually stand out there and do all my base running. So I stand at each bag because I want it game live. And so that, Friday night we'll have no outs at second base, and then 1 out at second base, then 2 out at second base as the weekends go on in our level. So they practice in different things and they're getting used to what they're doing. The other rounds that we do, and we do this a good bit, we do some off-center work. So we'll take our L screens and put them on both sides. You can use machines or you can use coaches and really working to drive that ball the other way. The other one that's a little different that we use is we do more off-center pull. And we'll jump out there and do some pull work. And there are days, because, sometimes when we slump, we tell hitters, you guys stand the ball, you gotta go hit it. Sometimes you need to get the head out and drive baseball. And I'm a big believer of that too, because when we're hitting really good, that head's getting out. It doesn't mean pull all the time, just like with our aggressive doesn't mean pull. It means better be ready for the fastball. We should be able to handle any fastball that comes over that dish. And then, like I said earlier, we had different emphasis weeks that we had going on that we deal with different things. Our scrimmages, in our fall, we do some different type of scrimmages. We never do a real just scrimmage and just play the game. Almost all of ours are steel scrimmages. So we'll jump out there. We have 2 teams playing each other, but you're allowed a free steal. So you can have your guys laid out there. You can do free steals. We steal, the steals for our runners, base runners, to be able to work on it. So if they steal and get thrown out, they get to come back like it never happened. So unfortunately, your pitchers and pitching coaches are usually pissed. But it teaches us to be better with our catchers, better with our pitchers, better with our middle infielders, securing the ball and getting our tags down and being ready to go. But if you get picked off, you're out. Because that's the big thing in our stealing game. You can't get picked off if it's just a guess. You're going to get picked off at times. I'm fine with that, but you just can't. We have that one guy who just wants to guess every time. We'll have RBI scrimmages. Before we set up, we already mock our scrimmages out and do different things in our scrimmages that way. We also do our bumper hit scrimmages, where you get a free, same thing like a steal. If you're trying to encourage your bumper hits and getting bumper hits and having bumper hits in your scrimmages, you have different things that you can use that way. The one that we use a lot, and we'll use every week going into our thing, is we do a controlled scrimmage. We have it planned out for every inning. We try to make it as competitive as we possibly can. We have everything laid out for the guys. It's run at first, no outs. And they have their own signs. They can either do a bunt or a hit and run. And then it's runner at second, no outs. And they can either bump or hit down the line and get that guy to third, they can hit behind him. And what we do is we do 2 innings together. So you'll have a lineup, do the first inning, they stay in the dugout, do the second inning, switch. We try to put you can get points taken away for bad base running, not hustling, not getting on off the field. Well, you get a plus or a minus for everything you do on this day. We come back in the middle segment, the 3rd and 4th inning. These are our RBI situations. We have runner at third, infield back, get the run in. Runner at third, infield up, get the run in. And so both situations for us, we're practicing hard on our base running. For that guy at third base, we take a lot of down angles, but we also work on, and really the key for us is runner at third, infield back. Then we're trying to hit a hard ball through the middle of the field. And runner at third, infield up, we're just trying to hit it hard. I don't teach our guys to hit in the air or hit anything, get a good pitch, hit it hard. Somebody catches it, they catch it. Usually you end up with foul balls in that situation because you're trying to lift more than you usually do. Then our last segment, we do runners at first and third, 1 out. You get pluses for all the runs you score. So you hit a jack, you get 3 pluses. And then the last one, once again our emphasis, runners at second and third, 2 outs. 2 out hitting, and we do this every week in our preseason, getting our guys ready. And I'm sure you guys have done some of the similar things, but as we're trying to stack things on top of it so you have an emphasis for your guys. These are our finishers, and we have different finishers that we use with each segment. They're competition games, so we'll finish our days with competition. Hit game is one of our favorites. My head coach had picked it up from Team USA. They did it with Team USA, and hit game is you have a clock. You have 3 groups, and you break your hitters up into 3 groups. One group's in there, and if they have a clock, you start it on the first swing. It's about 3 or 4 minutes, and it's a line drive game, because they'll hit a jack and try to get it, stay in there. But it's a point for a line drive. It's 2 points for a line drive off the screen, and you get as many swings as you can be in there. So they're hustling in and out on both sides. It's real competitive. The group in the field is heckling them usually, and they're banging balls, trying to hit balls in there, and after 3 minutes you stop, and then we do it, and then we always have winner gets to go in, loser cleans up, second, the worst losers get to run it. So we try to make something for them. But we do the same thing, 3 groups. We do a 2-strike game, we do a bunt game, we do a hit and run game, and then we have some different base running pieces we'll put in at the end to throw in there. At this point, when we finish up, our pitchers, they're on our team defensive pieces, but they'll go with Coach Foxhall. They'll head down to the bullpen. They'll get their work in the bullpen. I don't like pitchers hanging around, so when we break out that team meeting piece, if they got to go to the weight room, they'll leave and go to the weight room. I've had 2 injuries since I've taken the job of pitchers getting hit in the head with a ball during BP. And one got really serious, and then Kate, Coach Polk was coaching him, so I blamed him. But kid took one right in the eye. We had 2 of them take them in the eyes, I guess, just standing out there. So it's better for me when I get the pitchers out of the way. I know you need them, and I know a lot of your pitchers are hitting for you too, but we're able to do some different things and pull them out. But we try to have these finishers at the very end. It's 15 minutes long, it's quick, and we're able to throw these out there. But all the pieces, we put the pieces together what's best for us. and what's best for the clientele, the player that we have in our program. You may have different things that, hey man, I got to finish with something here to make it competitive, because when our kids leave that day, I want them to have some energy about it. I don't want to grind practice. Our practices we don't maximize our time probably every time. I like to get out there, I like to be quick, I like to get our work in, I like it to have good tempo, and we get off the field. In my world, we can almost have too many reps sometimes. In your world, I know you're always fighting for reps and getting as many reps as you possibly can. This sits on my desk, and it sits right beside my computer. It's not maroon on the one on my desk. This is in white paper. And so in the fall, I take a black pen, and every day I get off first base, I click it. And then I do the next day's practice schedule, and we did off first base, and we did bunt defense, and we did a practice game day VP. So when you look down at this at the end of the fall, off first base probably has 2 or 3 scratches. Steal breaks probably has 4 or 5. We did bunt defense 3 days, first and third 3 days. I have it in my head mentally how many times we've done this. And I suggest this for anybody. I got it from a former coach I worked with. But it's huge. And then when I go back to the spring, I do it in a different colored ink. So the whole spring knot, so at the end of the year, I know in my heart, man, we've practiced off first base 6 times. Or bunt defense or wherever we're at as many times as we can, so that we're getting all that we can get done. Organization is a man's greatest asset. I played for a Hall of Fame coach at the Citadel a long time ago, and he pounded this in our heads all the time, and I still use it and throw it out there. The kids, I'm telling you this, and it's today's society, they want to know what they have, and they want to know they're not wasting their time. I promise you. Make it building an organized practice schedule, having things laid out, put a little bit more time into organizing it, explaining it to your coaches so your coaches are ready. I know I'm lucky that I'm where I'm at and what I have and the amount of coaches and the ballpark and all those things, but I didn't always. And these have been big pieces, but in today's day and time, I'm telling you, it means more to the kids to know that their time is respected and that you have them out there and that you're getting the max reps out of them. Because the one thing the kids know when you're organized, and I've had our kids, I'm probably annually organized, so our kids have even said that, but I try to lay everything out for our guys so that when they show up to work, they know what they're doing. And same thing with our coaches. We'll meet early in the week, we go over everything, and even I expect in them in that defensive fundamental period, if we're doing bunt defense that day, they're going over it quickly with their guys and making sure they know it and just throwing it in there day after day. What we do is not real fancy. Don't get me wrong. We got a pitching lab. We got technology everywhere. We got flipper-free lighting we had to get in there. But it's still getting on the mound, throwing it over the plate, and being fundamental. We got TrackMan. I don't set TrackMan. I love the exit velos and all that type of stuff. I don't totally understand everything right now, but we're working on it. But the reality is, it's the same game. It's about being fundamental. It's about repeating, and it's about playing hard. And that's one thing that we really preach to our guys. Here's this list. If you want to click it with your phone, if you ever would like to come to a practice and hang out with us at practice, that's my secretary. That's our operations director's email. And that's the day we're doing our coaches clinic there at Duty Noble. So you're more than welcome to come in there. And like I said, if you even, Jake threw it out there earlier, just email us if you have a question or anything. We're open to that. Same thing with players. If you have players, we like them big, fast, and throw really hard, right, Jake? That's it. That's type 1 we like. There's some good small ones too, but as we're out there, just feel free that you can reach out to us. I'm going to give everybody a 10-minute break, and then we'll flip around. And I got outfield, especially. I do have a lot of videos from my outfield work, so we'll be able to throw some out there. Thank you. Sweat. What's that? Y'all, I think get you guys out here, man. Waiting on a couple guys to come in, right? All right, my next segment, I got a lot more videos in my next segment, going over some different pieces. I've always been as a position coach early in my career, I was a hitting coach for a long time. I'm still a hitting coach. I try not to step on my other assistant coaches' feet as I'm talking about hitting and letting them implement their plan. But I was also, I'm not a cocky person, but I'm the #1 certified guy to teach outfield play because I was the worst outfielder ever. And I had to learn how to play it. I didn't play my first 2 years of college, I don't play an inning in the field. I was that bad, but I could hit. And so the coach was always trying, like they said, if you hit, they find you a spot in the lineup. I ended up with 290 down the right field line, so there wasn't a lot of ground cover out there. So I learned how to play outfield and play outfield, and I've been an outfield coach for 25 years now. And usually I know at the high school level, you're pushing somebody out to the side or hitting some fumbles or shoot them out of the machine. At our level, we have more coaches, we're able to do more, but outfield play is so huge, like we all know. So as we go into it, I'll have some videos, some different things that we break down and do. And even with my guys, it's been an adjustment because I have a very talented outfield. I got 3 starters back from a World Series team, and they're all pretty good. And I think my center fielder, he won the Gold Glove. I'll show it to you at the end. Maybe the best center fielder in the country, and defensively. And it's been a fun kid to coach because you think you're walking in and getting a superstar, but he don't act like he's a superstar. And that's the fun kid to coach as you're moving along. When you're looking for outfielders, maybe in your situation it's your worst athlete on the team, but in our world we're looking for guys who are athletic, who run. That's always great in theory, but that's the #1 thing we're looking for out there is for guys that can run. For me, after that, is it that guy that can hit like me? Are you trying to get that guy in your outfielder that can hit and get him and teach him how to play, get him into a position where he doesn't affect the game as much on the defensive side? And we're seeing it with this defensive metrics and everything else that we deal with in the professional game of how much an outfielder impacts the game. And then the last piece is the arm. And, a buddy of mine who ran scout school out in Arizona for years said when they did all the things, one of the least tangible skill of all the positions and everything was an outfielder's arm. And that really got in my head, like, it just doesn't make as many plays in the whole game after the whole game's done. I'm not saying it's not important. We don't want to throw good or anything else like that. But sometimes to make a decision on his arm, now you're probably not playing that guy in right field, but the outfield arm is the least. So if they can run and be athletic, and if they can bang and give you some offense, then you got guys possibly playing. We know if we're trying to put our best defender in center, our best thrower in right, some of those type of things, but basic outfield play of where you're at. I'm going right into our stuff that we have and going into. We have 2 sets of our outfield work, really 3 sets, because we all talk, BP, right? That's where outfielders get the best work. And I'll talk about our BPs and some of the things that we talk about in our BPs that we go through. And then we have drill work, and then I call it live work that we do. And I showed you in our practice organization, we have that defensive fundamental period. I take those outfielders for 20 minutes every day, and we do some of these segments. But I'm going to go through our drill work first as we go through it. Now, the first part that we'll talk about, and I got video that will click right after this, will be a lot of our ground ball work. And it seems pretty simple. I started it because I had a certain player 15, 20 years ago who struggled picking up ground balls. And so we worked on different techniques, and I even let my guys use different techniques. I've had some guys catch the ball more in that pro step that everybody's teaching right now with the glove foot back. And I've had a lot of guys catch it off that front foot and be able to throw and be effective that way. So there's different things that you'll see as we go through it, but I'll go ahead and start. We do our drills, and the drills start with from me to y'all's table. They're short, they're controlled, I don't want them to move. My guys in here, Jake Nangham, our center fielder, maybe the best BP outfielder like I've ever had. And I've had some good ones. One of my guys is center fielder for the White Sox right now. He's runner up to the Gold Glove. out of the ball, played with the Reds and the Braves last year, was one of the top leaders in assists. Had some really good ones. The dude practices like I've never seen. And the way he goes out there, the way he goes after balls. But on the flip side, he's very average in my drills. So as I'm showing you my drills here, and you'll see some things, but I'll show you some of the live work too. It is just, I haven't been around a kid who goes after it the way he dives 4 or 5 times and catches balls in every practice, full extension. So it's fun to watch. Our ground ball technique. You can teach your guys to work off either foot. So Jake works off his glove hand foot. He catches his ball out off his glove hand's foot. Elijah catches his more off his back foot. And our other two, Ben Bell and Hunter Blaylock on the other side, they're working here. We talk about getting our back knee down, getting some bend, showing a good glove. Most of the time we have to work through that ball a little bit. I came off the turf, but also in the Midwest you played a lot of bad fields, a lot of bad hops. Our field, immaculate turf, but there's a lot of snake in it. So they're really working on the snake and how we're moving it and doing things that way. But a very basic drill. We start, they just right here, and then we're just working on catching balls. One guy could be here. It doesn't bother me either way. Having our back knee down, catching balls, and we talk about it all the time. It's not all right to miss. It's not all right to miss one ball or wherever we're at. Then we move it into short hops. Pretty basic. Just working on short hops, catching balls, trying to work through it a little bit. Really basic. Fundamental. All right, this next piece we talked about, we're still at the same distance, and now we're talking about how we're going to throw. And in our world, we want to be able to work through that backside, we want to step through. We don't teach crow hop. You may teach crow hop, and it's fine, but one thing I challenge you to do one day is get out and hit your guys' ground balls and time how long it takes them. You know, time how long it takes them and start timing your guys, and it's amazing how much quicker. Now, you don't want them to get so quick that they can't throw the baseball. There's that piece. And as we started doing this, Elijah started figuring out, my foot is back more when I do my work, even as a senior guy. But this is in the beginning of the fall with us, of us working and being able to show some things. But when we step through, we work on a couple things. I catch it off my front foot, so we teach this power step here, not to be behind, but to catch, come through here. We take our glove on our front side, and we jam it to our ear. And the reason we're trying to get this here is the biggest problem we have is guys don't close their front side down. When that front side's down, that ball flies. You got the one guy catches it and the ball's flying away. They want to work that. We also work catching that ball and getting a good seam and getting it out. Getting a good seam and getting it out and being able to play that fast. And their footwork changes over time. It's an aggressive move. I mean, we're really trying to come into it and get into a good spot and be ready to throw. Ben Bell's an infielder. Was an infielder, now he's an outfielder. Learning how to play the outfield position. Well, just trying to get into a good position. Jake's in the corner doing a crow hop, I think. But if you watch the one in the back, just very basic. But getting that glove to our front side closed, having an aggressive move, and being able to work through it. So we've progressed the grounders, short hops, step throughs, and we go to, we back up to 120. I'll just tell, hey, 5 perfect. 5 perfect, and then you and your partner shut down, and then your partner gets 5 perfect. And all we're doing is going to 120, rolling ground balls, enough to where they have to, the key is to sprint, break down. Be on the, cut down the distance or whatever we tell them, but they have to get going at a sprint speed so they can break down and have the right footwork when they get there to catch a ball. Their partner rolls it, and then he goes hands up. We want to hit them between the field goal post and be ready. So when they come back, if they get 5 perfect, then they're done. You'll have 1 or 2 on the corner, and they never finish. And eventually you blow the whistle and switch it up. But, man. I ain't got no video. Well, what they're, like I said, this is pretty easy when they're just running, taking balls, moving it that way, and throwing it to their partner. This is our partner gap balls, and we do backhand. So you have one guy on the line, one guy in front, they caddy corner, and then what you're going to do is you put the ball on the line, and the same thing, they're getting 5. Ball on my glove side, they're going to roll the ball, so my guy would be here, and I'd probably work off this side. He's going to roll me a ball back in this area, and I'm going to drop or jump step, run and get in my lane, pick that ball up, reverse pivot if I'm right-handed. All right, and I'll show it to you on the field. If I'm left-handed, I'm working on my backhand in that direction. You have to have all the guys going in one direction and then all the guys going in the other direction so somebody doesn't get hit, but it lets us work on our timing and our footwork and everything that we have. When you see these guys go back, half the drill is a drop step, getting on line, getting to the ball, picking it up clean. The other half is getting out of the turns and getting my legs under me and getting to move, because they get lost in this because they're 6 or 7 feet away. What they do is in a real game, they're running into the right field corner and they're having to throw a ball all the way back into the second base or whatever. So they need their legs behind them. So we work on that part here. Well, I missed, I had 2 of them. See how Elisha comes out of it there? These are his reverse pivots. Man, my video ain't working. Okay, here we go. These are our backhands. So he'll work and run, and he just does 5. They catch, and they come out their legs, and they're putting themselves in a good position, ready to throw. See how they're all working in one direction? They do 5, they switch, then we go the other direction, and they got throw. They don't like it because it's very tedious and work. We'll also do it against the walls. We'll bounce balls off the walls and have them practice. Our technique off the walls, we pick up with 2 hands every time, and we get one good power step back into the infield and make those plays. But we do a lot of these because in big games, these plays matter. And we feel like we've practiced enough and had enough work going with them. Let me see if I can. This is the reverse pivot again. Our rule for reverse pivot, so if I'm on a right-handed throw and I'm going this way, if it's equal or in front of me, I'm going to really fight to try to get around that ball. If it's hard, equal, or behind me, I have to reverse pivot every time. So Elijah's doing a reverse pivot on all these so he can get back into the infield and make that throw. But you'll be amazed, a lot of high school kids, a lot of JUCO kids will come in and they're trying to circle balls behind them, and it's just too hard to get behind them and throw with momentum. All right, our fly ball work, and in our drill technique, our fly ball work, we do an athlete drill, and I started in my career with a true drop step, like probably a lot of us were taught earlier, but I've coached some really good guys who can do a jump step. Man, they can jump into it and be able to move and go. Me, the key to an outfielder being a great outfielder and catching balls is the first 3 steps. There's a lot of other things you got to do good, but the great ones are so good in those first couple steps and as they're moving and doing. So we call this the athlete drill, and I literally have the outfielder where I can put my hand on them. They all have their own ball at this point, and they're standing behind me, and so they're just jumping up. And as I go, I'm just going over one shoulder. But this ball is getting thrown short, probably gets to the 3rd table. And what they have to do is they have to be able to get to their drop step. Coach Gotra talked about it earlier. Not rise out of it. Stay low, and on that 3rd step, are you at full speed and are you on line? And our kids understand what I mean by being, are you on line? Are you on line? Was that on line? Because I say it all the time to them because they start to realize, oh, that's a little bit of a banana. Or whatever it might be. We're always trying to get on line to be in a perfect line. When I drew our drop steps, there's always a target. I always have a target for them. Because I want them to make sure they're on line and know where that is. And realize this, if they're ever going to miss, and your really good athletes can miss, let them get deep behind the line. So if I have a ball out here, it's better for me to be a little too deep in my drop step, and I can come back and catch it, but the guy that's too shallow, man, he's going to have a hard time when he's chasing that ball. That's the guy that drops the ball on you and doesn't get to a ball. But our athlete drill right here, let me get it started. Very simple. Just being able to get there fast and move. Not our drop steps. How do we send them off the long way? Very easy. Then we go to right drop. Then we go straight back. In our straight back, I spend a lot of time talking to our guys about this because they all play. I try to make sure our guys play all the different positions. And as an outfield coach, you deal with spin a lot. And our guys have to understand spin and where different spin is going to come from. We know the hardest ball for an outfielder is a line drive right at you. That's usually the hardest one. And I would rather an outfielder freeze for just a sec and make that read than to make the false read and go one way or the other. But we talk about here, and just some of our different glove angles that are pretty simple, but if I got a ball straight at me, straight behind me, and that ball's spinning true, then I'm trying to drop step with my glove side. And I'm trying to run back and make that play on my glove side so I have an opening here and I can catch that ball. But sometimes it can be a left-handed hitter and I'm playing right field and that ball's spinning and I know the ball's going to go to the line or whatever and I got to be able to spin and make it that way. So we practice all of them, but right here we just do our straight back drops and try to catch those balls. But in this drill, we spend a lot of time talking about, I still get them now, I have guys in my group, we'll go this way over my right shoulder, and my right hander will try to catch a ball like this. And I'm like, hey, you take your thumb to the sky, we get more extension, we get a bigger glove. Simple things like that. If you're in the middle of the game, you see one of your guys trying to catch a ball, with alligator arms, it bothers you as an outfield coach. These are our drop steps, so we start going a little farther. And we change, these have so many variations. I'm sure you have a lot of variations that you use with them. But right now, I think we're probably going to the right field pole and just sending these guys out, or maybe we're at center field. But we'll have a spot and then just working on them. Some days I throw them low liners, some days I throw them real high. We just use all different type of techniques that we use with them. Pretty simple. We've all done drop steps. There's Jake, catches it like that. So, just like I was saying. All right, now we have our recovery balls. So we'll have balls in our drop step work that we work on, but and I preach to them, get good first step, get on line, play full speed, but they are going to get burned. All right, they're going to get burned, so we work on a lot of different balls. Hey, we didn't see it. Some days we'll set the pitching machines up, lay them down flat on their face, or lay them down backwards and shoot them from home plate. You got to stand up and find it, because you got to learn how to recover sometimes. Sometimes you lose it. Sometimes you have some different things going on that we work on. So here, we just work on the recovery balls. They'll drop step one way. I'll come back over the other shoulder. A lot of times when we go straight back, we use this technique. Our technique is here. We're running, chasing. We take our elbow of our glove right here on this, or our backside. We pull through and come through and reaching the highs are up here, trying to find the ball as soon as we can. We don't try to backpedal out of this piece unless the ball's in a 2 or 3 feet spot. So they're working in there, trying to get all the balls they can. Play football, so you can tell it's maybe some cornerback drills or things like that they move and do, but just to catch balls. This is simple, but we don't work on it enough, and you can do it in a short space and a short things where guys, we finish with this one a lot of times. It's just our tag up technique. Ideally, if we were tagging up and making tag throws, you're catching a ball, middle of your body, maybe a little more to your throwing hand side. We're thinking about that same thing with our step through technique with our throwing. And we're trying to catch and be in this movement and starting to get our shoulders slightly closed so that we can make these throws. And they're ready to throw. Pretty simple. We practice our tagging. It seems it comes up big about 10 times a year in a college season. And early in my career, we never really practiced. I just bitched at them when we didn't get behind the ball in a big situation. And the more we practice it, we become better at it there. So I'm moving into our wall work and our live work that we do. So once a week I go out, defensive fundamentals. Coach Gotro's got the infield fungo circuit going. I have a manager with me. I got a bucket of balls, I got a fungo, and I'm working off the backside of the infield the whole time. I'm sure some of you guys have done this. I spend a lot of time working off the walls. We have strange walls in our ballpark, small foul territory down both lines. So I work off the side walls, I work off the back walls. We do a lot of different things here. I started with ground balls, but you'll see it, my manager put it in the back side of it, but I'll show those to you. But then we do all the wall work. I want them probably 15 feet off the wall. You want that the work is made around the wall. You want them to feel like they're having to deal with somebody. It really helps with their outfield communication as they work around it. We have fly ball communication that we do weekly. Our rule is, and I know y'all probably have different rules, whoever wants it gets it. And it's mine, take it. So if that ball goes on the middle infield and my pitcher wants to catch it, he can catch it. And in our world now, I don't know about yours, but you may look up and we don't have a third baseman. You know, our shortstops here are guys that are over second base, and we don't know where everybody's at. So the reality is we tell them, hey, whoever wants it gets it. So you jump out there and catch that ball. So that mentality here and us being able to work around. One thing that we do, you'll hear the communication. The next guy in line is the communicator. So you'll hear during our drill. Now, a lot of them, they all do it, but it gets us to be loud, especially playing in a park like this. And you have to communicate, you have to be loud. I do this on Thursday nights. You know, Thursday night we're going to another field. I'm out there and we're bouncing balls off different belts and tarps and everything else, trying to figure out bounces and what's going on. But we also do this, we do it once a week in all our drills. Adam Engel, the kid I had at Louisville, who was center fielder for the White Sox, he was rated the best outfielder in the American League for going behind. And we did this once or twice every week. I give him a hard time. I said, that's why you're so good. I don't think that's the reason, but he was a great athlete. We could really go behind. Another piece is, if I hit a ball and it's not a pop-up, maybe it hits the wall, they still have to play it. So we play all our live techniques off the wall. If I hit a ball and it goes out, they still have to work to the wall and practice climbing the wall and timing that jump to as if that ball was there. So we don't waste any reps and we're trying to get everything there. So you can get there, and we talk all the time. We've even timed how many steps is your warning track? How many steps is a warning track? How many steps is a warning track going straight back or at an angle? Because at an angle makes a difference. You get another probably full stride on that. Ours is like 2.5. That's field turf that's on there, so that's a hard field for our guys. So they don't run into a different dirt or anything else if they feel that way. And I'll just work the outfield. We'll start with left and work around and just give our guys reps. Now I've got them down the line. I'm yelling at him down there, like sprint to the wall, hit the wall, find the wall, instead of drift into it even though he caught it. You can't hear it with all the... Just now working into the gap. Same breath. And we do the same thing. I did the small work with our guys in the drill work day. But I promise, we spend a lot of time working on coming and getting balls, taking ground balls. And in this segment, I go in all the different directions. Reverse pivots, backhands, and those clean. And if we flip side, and I was doing a base running speech, and we speak every time about coming out of our box, we hit first base and we're turning, and we are praying somebody bobbles the ball. We are not stopping, and we're running to second base. The same thing I preach on the outfield side is we're not going to miss. We're going to catch everything. And be ready. This is very basic work, but they don't get it as much from their guys. You can see them do a reverse pivot, come out of the gap. All right, this is the other drill. We have a fungo man, which I'll talk about and do with fungo man. You sit there, it shoots. It's our machine, and I'll talk about how we use machines. If I was a high school coach and I was limited and I had certain things that I could do, I would set my machine up, and there's a ways, and I'll talk about it to get a lot of work. But sometimes you get lost in that is the reaction. And so we would shoot our fungo man all the time and use it a lot because it was a great tool because we could put it right on the walls. But we lost some first step quickness, some reaction quickness, and things like that. So we started doing ours and doing like a soft toss drill. So you're sitting there on the side, you're flipping, so one outfielder's in here. You can almost have a manager here and they're hitting to each other, but they're taking live reps. The neat part about it is each hitter hits a different ball. Elijah's got that high fly ball. Ball's got a little inside. I got another guy's a little slappy guy. He's hitting line drives at him. I got a lefty. The ball's spinning. We have all different type of balls that we're catching here and getting off the bat. And we just set up down the line, and they're out there and they're catching balls. They have a ball in the bucket. One guy, next guy's up. And like I said, Elijah's an easy guy to catch off of because his ball, he's a big high ball. But I'm telling him usually, hit that line drive right at him, hit the balls right at him, do some work that way, so that they can get a real feel in their soft. I try to do this one and mix it with every week, try to get that in there so that guys can get some first step reaction. This is from the other end. Like I said, very basic, but it's for their first step work and want them to have a good first step in what they do. I don't have video of this one drill, but when we work on our throwing as an outfielder, we set up two coaches on the backside of the mound with fungos and a catcher-upper, and all our infielders are out there, and we call this the triangle drill. And I'll just holler out, kind of like you do on the infield with fungos, but the guy that's standing near the third base side, the fungoer, we'll say, left field to third, center field to home. And we both flip them at the same time. We hit them, boom. We get double the reps, come in, throw. Boom, our left fielders are throwing to third, our center fielders are throwing to home. And then we'll just move it around. Center fielders to third, right fielders to home. And we're able to double those reps up and get those reps for those guys to be able to get their throwing work. They don't get a ton of throwing work. And in our work that I talked about, like our play catch for our outfielders, man, we throw long every day. We're trying to throw long. We're trying to have good spin. But then that's one of the days that we'll throw in that triangle work. During the season, it's hard. And I'll even talk about our in and out time and different things that we do with our in and out, because those are some pieces that we're able to get a little refresher, but still, it's only 4 throws for an outfielder on game day. How many throws does your outfielders make on game day? For us, we play every day, so it's not as big a deal. For a high school coach, I would imagine, because I sometimes I'll go in, like in and out, we get 10 minutes. You go to regional, they're all over you about 10 minutes. But about, an outdoor high school game, guy takes 20 minutes for infield. I'm like, but I know why. It's because you're trying to get more reps, trying to get them on that field or get them wherever you're at. Trying to get more reps, but ask yourself how many times your guys get to throw and do and be able to make those plays. All right, machine work, like I said, we have a fungo man, so we use a fungo man. But if you're a coach and you're in the middle of doing something and you're doing a defensive segment, you can have a manager sit there with that machine and shoot balls to those guys in the outfield all day long. I love them really high. It's got to be the right spin. You can't shoot them top spinners or whatever. You got to get your machine set up right. But most programs have machines now, and you can sit and shoot guys. You can almost set one ball up in one spot and then set up cones around it and start your guys from the cones and let them work like a clock around those cones. So you work some coming in, you work some going back, you work some left, you work some right. It's almost like wherever you think that ball is going to land, set up 6 cones around it, and they take a rep from there and they move to the next cone. They just keep moving around that way. Like I said earlier, we lay them down on their stomach, hit balls, they have to find it, get up and do it that way. We lay them on their back. We try to do different things. We try to hold them down, try to make a game out of it for those guys. But that machine work is a huge piece of their work as they get moving. Our in and out's very simple. It's not the same for every guy. But I try to motivate our guys, so we always talk about perfect round. Hey, can we get a perfect round infield? And I don't know about you. I know it doesn't matter, because I've done this long enough, because it drives you crazy half the time if you're the guy hitting in and out and your team's throwing balls all over the place and you got a big game and the reality, but we try to motivate them on, I'm sure we've all had a story somewhere of in and out. But the perfect round reward, so I'll hear our guys, hey, let's have a perfect round. Everybody catches the ball. I mean, I've been at really good colleges that'll have like once or twice in a 56-game season, so you can have some leniency with it, but man, we'll do a reward for it if they get it, because you'll hear it happen as in and out's going on. Don't drop it, make a good throw, and they start just to have a little bit more focus in what they're doing. But as our outfielders, we do a long ground ball right at you. We do one of their gaps either way. We do ground ball to the plate, really trying to get them. A lot of these we talk a lot about, cutting down the distance like everybody else does. But we always finish with the last one as a tag to the plate. And I know as the outfield coach, man, throw through the cut. But there is a time to throw it all the way through. And we practice that once a day in our in and out. So you'll come to us and see us. That tag to the plate is nobody, there's a runner at third, there's one out, and man, we are trying to hose the guy at the plate. We're not going to a cut or doing anything that way. We're trying to get that guy at the plate. Very simple. Like I said, the perfect round reward, and we'll do it with our crew here. We may never get it, but you come out the next day and you got popsicles or something for everybody, then they're all fired up. But it gets embedded in your group and in your culture of what they're trying to do. We'll have a defensive player of the day. So we'll have a kid come out every day. This goes for all the team. We have a defensive player of the day. He comes in the next day. He has a shirt in his locker that's different than everybody else's. He gets to come out and wear it. I spoke to you in my last talk about our emphasis being on defense. So you'll come to our practice and say, hey, why's that guy wearing that shirt? It's because he was the best defensive player of the day. And we'll even say our best. Usually I feel like it's our outfielders anyway, but I don't know if that's the coach in the outfield. Not the infield. Coach Rowe, I don't know if you got that one. But it's pretty competitive with our guys out there as they're playing and getting everything done. So our BP when your outfielders are out there for BP. I talked to you about my pitchers in my other speech about pushing those pitchers and getting them out of the way, getting them off of BP. I make my pitchers, if they're out there, they got to stand in the corners or on the wall. That's what they're supposed to be. And I want my guys to be able to really go after it. I don't want you to shag. They're not allowed to shag. Now, I'm sure they'll shag at some point because the season's so long. But, man, we go after it. We defend when we're out here. I tell my guys, if you want to come in and get a drink of water in the middle of BP and sit on the bench for 2 or 3 minutes and rest, I'm fine. But I said, when you're in between those 2 white lines, you are going. And you are reacting. Because some of those kids get in a bad habit of just rolling out of starts and catching balls. And so we talk about that a lot. I'll put my cameras on them at times. They don't know the cameras are on them during BP. This is where I come back to Jake Mangum about how special a player he is, because you'll go on and he's testing himself. I'll come out there and he's 15, 20 feet. Like I asked Coach Goat. I asked him in the fall, like, is he always playing this shallow? And I pulled him aside and said, no, Coach, I'm just working on it today. He would play 20, 30 feet, it felt like off the infield, and then just chasing everything, making himself chase. And one day I look out there and he's deep. One day he's shaded. One day, but he does not take a play. That's why he's so good. I said, it's a talent piece. I know there's a talent piece. We did one of our Oppo BP days. So an Oppo BP day, when you do an Oppo BP, all the balls are going to that side. So you have all your hitters, right-handed hitters are all in one group. You're an outfielder, the only ball should be hit out there is the right field, right? So all your outfielders end up clumped in one spot. Some of them will play right center. But I look out there and Jake is played like 40 feet in front of all the other outfielders. And he's the best one, and I'll tell all of that to their face, but he's the best one, and he's 40 or 50 feet. He's not even catching balls. He's sitting in his spot, every ball that got hit, and he'd come back. I mean, it's like I've never seen out of a kid, the intensity for the way he does it, and it's a big piece to what makes him a great player. That's what makes a great outfielder. We talked about earlier, just being able to go after it. It's something you can learn. Our outfielders hear this all the time, and I'm real big about securing the baseball. They'll run, dive, catch, ball trickle out, go 6 feet. Nice try. They think I'm giving the first couple weeks, they think I'm giving them a compliment. It's not a compliment. You got to make the catch. So we talk about all the time securing the catch. One drill I didn't have on here is we do one with our athlete drill where everything's in front of us. And so when a ball's in front of an outfielder, he reverse steps to go catch a ball. So if the ball's here, then I'm standing right in front of them, probably about 15 feet away. I'm underhanding all these low balls. Well, they have to be able to get to this point, get on the line, and catch that ball. And everything's below their waist. So you have to catch everything below their waist on the run and pull their balls up and show them to me every time. Or scoop them if they're the other side. I'm scooping this ball and showing it to me. So we work on all the hard balls that they have to secure and make plays on and show that they can make plays on. But we give them a hard, hey, nice try. They think they got to give a great effort. It's all right. Oh, you have to catch the ball. If it hits your glove, we expect you to catch the ball instead of the other 15,000 people sitting in our park want you to catch the ball. So it's that nice try piece where we're at. We joke. We break up in our position groups a lot. And we talk about position group pride. So I'm always cracking. I'm cracking on Coach Gotro or whatever. The outfielder's the best position group we got. But you want your group to have that mentality about them, that, hey, we're the best group. And it's joking and it's having fun at the end of the day, but I want my group to have a lot of pride in how they go about their business and how they do it. At Louisville, we had a great outfield. We had All-American center fielder, All-American left fielder, no-fly zone. I call it the no-fly zone. But it was just a lot of pride about how they went about their business and did things. And then when a ball went up, then we felt like that ball's getting caught every time. It's an attitude about how you play the game and how you do it. Oh. Then I put Jake's Gold Glove up there for y'all to see. Pretty cool award. There's only one given to a center fielder. And not only just a great outfielder, he's a great thrower too. I think you saw in the Super Regionals, threw a couple guys out there. Our defensive piece is huge, and he's a big part of it. Not to oversell him, y'all know he's a good player, without me telling you that. Doing all right? Questions? Not just about outfield play. We got a couple minutes here, right, Andy?
Yes, sir. We got a couple minutes.
All right. They're not closing down the tables yet, are
No.
they? All right, good. All right.
24 hours.
That's what I see it. If you have any questions, Coach Goat's here, I'm here. I'm going to be hanging out for a while, so feel free. But if you have an open forum, if you have a question, let me know. You good? All right. Thank you guys for everything you do. Remember, our place is wide open. We're here to help. We're only as good as the players in our area and the players in our state. So whatever we can do to help you, we're a phone call, an email, a text message away. And we're excited to be here, be a part of Mississippi baseball.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. 1280 hospitality room. We may get a little crowded in there. I got the big room and then the 2 rooms outside.